So I haven't been able to do too much in the way of filming this time around because I've been working with this thin board stuff that I'm using as the liner for the roof. It's a 3mm ply, so it's quite lightweight. It's around the same sort of price as what it would have cost me to just put plaster up, but it's just a little bit more durable in terms of taking the occasional bump or something like that. And it's slightly more lightweight, so getting it up on the roof was probably a little bit easier as well. The real difficulty with getting it onto the roof was the fact that it was quite flimsy, so as a result I didn't really get much in the way of filming done with it because the people that would normally film for me were helping me hold it in place. But this is what it's come out like, and I'm pretty happy with it. I made one logistical error when I was putting it up. When I calculated out, the boards are 1.2 metres wide and the span of the roof was 6 metres. So I thought it would span out quite evenly, but what I forgot to calculate for was the thickness of the wall. So as I came out, it was out by 10 centimetres. I should have started with that middle panel and then put boards out to either side. But because I started from one side, it ended up being a little bit shorter on the other side, which means that central panel is not really in the centre. Other than that little error, it all went up fairly well, and I think it looked quite nice. I'm in two minds about it now. I was originally going to paint it white, but I'm kind of liking the way the wood looks there with the contrast of the white battens sort of holding it up. I'll see if it grows on me, and I might just leave it the way it is. I can always paint it white later on. And the real decision will probably come when I finally get the wall lining up. But given that the workshop's all waterproof now and I've got that lining on the roof, I can do a bit of a tidy up and a clean up in here and start getting back to some of my regular work whilst I'm waiting for the container to arrive. I've got the back door on, but even with the door shut there, as you can see, the light in here is still really quite good, even though the bits at the end have been blocked off partially. So the side skylight idea is working quite well there as well. When these wooden boards were delivered, because they're quite thin, when they're strapped down on the delivery truck, they have a real tendency to sort of snap on the edges. So when it was packed up and delivered to me, they included a cover sheet, which is that particle board one there. And whilst that one's not very good, the couple that you can see there at the back are not bad at all. They're the MDF type stuff that you normally go and buy. Try and build up a rapport with the guys and girls at your local hardware shop, and what you should find is, depending on the hardware shop that you're dealing with, a lot of the time these sheets aren't good enough for them to sell and they end up in their skip bin out the back and they have to pay to get them thrown away. So a lot of the time they're just more than happy to give them to you and you can take them away for nothing. Now more often than not you've got one side that's usually scuffed up, but because it is a cover sheet, the other side generally is always pretty good. And allowing for a little bit of damage here and there that you may be able to cut around, depending on what you're doing with them, 9 times out of 10 they end up painted anyway. And any of the sort of little blemishes you might get from strapping marks and things like that, you can either sand off or paint over. This lightweight one that I've got there has been earmarked by my daughter to make up some shoe shelves for her in her cupboard. And the heavier weight one that I've got there, I'm going to be using as sides for new benches in the workshop. And the projects that you can see here, the built-in wardrobe for my daughter, the office desk and shelves set up for my wife, yes, she likes minions, have all been made from cover sheets that would otherwise ended up in landfill. So I've had to wait until the sun's just about going down so that you can see the difference I've done now with the skylights, just to make them look a bit nicer and so that they're sitting level with the rest of the roof. I've added some plastic sheeting to cover up the hole that's been created with them. The stuff I've used is just a plastic tablecloth cover. It's almost like shower screen, I guess, but it's a little bit stiff, and when you pull it tight it sort of almost becomes like a drum skin, so it sits quite nicely. And even with the sun going down there, you can see there's still a reasonable amount of light coming through, and it diffuses it really nicely as well. I'll finish them off by adding a wooden frame around the outside around it so that it covers up the staples, and that should just finish it off and make it look a bit tidier as well. So anyway, that's the update for this time. Thanks for watching, talk to you next time.